Hello, everyone. Welcome to the College Hoops Live Tuesday Rhythm live stream, which we've been doing for quite a while right now. But now I think it takes on a little more emphasis because the NFL season is over. Congratulations to my friends James Santor and Adam Rosenberg, who successfully went with the Philadelphia Eagles. I, on the other hand, suffered an embarrassing, pathetic, disgusting loss with the Kansas City Chiefs. Absolute no-show. Well, that being said, we're going to turn the page on NFL. And even though, if you're like me, you're in New England, I'm in Boston. I actually just spent about a week in New Mexico where it was about 80 degrees, had a fantastic time. Went to Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Roswell, did some digging on the UFOs out there. And let me just tell you, it might be real. But anyway, it's cold. It's, 20 degrees here. I got a foot and a half of snow in Boston, but I'm excited for spring. And the unofficial start of spring is March Madness. So obviously, with NFL in the rear view, we're going to be looking toward, really refining and honing our skills when it comes to betting college basketball. Because now with NFL over, it's really full steam ahead here with college basketball. Of course, Rhythm is going to have you covered with the NBA. Really excited to announce that if you go into the Rhythm app now, you're going to see a coming soon Major League Baseball tab. So when I started teaming up with Rhythm a little over a year ago, baseball was a sport that Rhythm, I was talking to James and Megan and Brian, and they were saying, hey, we got to add baseball. Obviously, when you get into the summer months, there's really nothing else going on but MLB, even though Rhythm has WNBA as well. But that to me is super exciting. So I think when, you kind of have the end of the NFL season and the Super Bowl, a lot of bettors get down. They're like, man, no more football. What am I going to do, for the next, 6, 7, 8 months? But rest assured, Rhythm has you covered all year round, 365, 24/7. And it's now the time to get excited about really, getting down heavy here on college basketball, but then also getting excited about Major League Baseball. So that's my kind of speech, my pump up speech to say, hey, I know NFL's over and we all already miss betting on the NFL, but again, get excited. The sports betting calendar continues to roll on, and we got college hoops to really focus on, as well as NBA, but really Major League Baseball. I'm really pumped about that. I know how hard the team has been working on that behind the scenes. So it's great to see that coming soon tab for Major League Baseball. But I'm going to do one thing here. Just want to tweet this out so everyone can see and let everyone file in, because today is a big college basketball day. It's always these Super Tuesdays where you got a lot of games going on. So it should be a ton of fun here. And I'm looking forward to breaking it down all with you right now. So let me just quote tweet this, make sure everyone downloads Rhythm, and then it'll be off and running. I have a 5-pack of sweats that I'm excited to share with you guys today. So very much looking forward to that. So let me just get the tweet out, and we will be good to go. And then we'll start answering questions. Again, focusing on 5 games here tonight for me that really are checking off all the boxes in terms of a market-driven approach, looking at the way these lines have moved, the bet splits, my system matches, and then, as you guys might know or might not know by now, the cherry on top. When you got that sundae and you got your ice cream, your hot fudge, your whipped cream, that beautiful red cherry, that tasty cherry, to me, is Rhythm, adding in a hopefully a further validation of your bet based on the Rhythm prediction. Or maybe it's one of those plays where maybe I kind of overlook something, or maybe my bias got in the way and Rhythm tells me, hey, take a step back here. Like you're laying a favorite -3 when we have it as a 1-point game, or maybe you like the dog, +5, but Rhythm says they should be +7. I think the beauty of Rhythm is not only helping you make smart bets on games that you actually get down on and place your ticket and have in pocket, but also kind of helps you to figure out when to lay off, bets not to make, because we all want to make money. You can only make money by risking some of your bankroll in order to gain a profit, but Rhythm can also help you to save lost money, which sometimes is just as important. So let me just let everyone file in here. I definitely want to mention to everyone that we have the, let me get over here. That's bad, my other hand. Right here. 7-day free trial. So if you have not yet tested out Rhythm, now's the perfect time, because college hoops, again, is really going to be pedal to the metal here as we get into the March Madness season. So already seeing some familiar faces. La Flama Blanca lost my mortgage on the JUCO game you got me on the other day. Which one was that? JUCO. Do we bet JUCO? Do you even have lines on JUCO? Maybe you're referring to the Kansas City Chiefs, who did not even show up, which was pretty pathetic. But anyway, as people dive in here on a big Tuesday, let's start off with the approach to college basketball, because I mentioned earlier, but really where I start capping games, and let's look at today, for example, a big Tuesday. I counted, I believe, 37 games overall. And when I look at the board, I kind of break it up into kind of two buckets here. So like one bucket would be your extremely heavily bet games that feature oftentimes ranked teams that are on ESPN or any other bigger network. And then you have kind of your smaller games, which those smaller games to me can be just as valuable as the bigger games. But those are the games where you may not get them on TV. You're going to have ESPN Plus in order to sweat them. So I look at it a couple different ways. When I'm looking at the big games, obviously, and again, people always ask me, like, how do you know the ticket counts? How do you know how heavily bet or, how least heavily bet the games are? And I always tell people, there are sites that provide you the number of tickets, but just take it with a grain of salt, and always kind of think about the idea of, if the game is on TV, if you walk into a bar or you're hanging out at home and ESPN is showing you a game, Duke, UNC, Kentucky, Michigan State, that's most likely going to be the most heavily bet game of the night, because the betting public loves to bet on games that they can watch on TV. Now, that differentiates a lot of public bettors from what we call wise guys or wise gals. Megan, we're going to hit on Vandy Auburn. Megan, hope you're doing great. Hope you had a great time in New Orleans, and hopefully you kept James Santor in track there, because I know he was feeling pretty good about his Eagles there. But to the point of, if it's on TV, it's very heavily bet. The public's going to want to play it. But one important thing is that when the public looks at betting, they're going to look at what games are on TV, and I want to bet those games. And right automatically off the bat, you're kind of hurting yourself in that regard, because you're already injecting bias. You're saying, I'm only limiting myself to the games that I can watch on TV. And then therefore, you're kind of sometimes, can I hold that man down? Yeah. James is flying high. He might need a couple weeks off here to recover. He's been going up those grease down poles in Philly. But to the point of just TV, not TV, I just want to make this very quick point. The big TV games are the games where I like to go contrarian. So what that means is looking at bet splits, bets and dollars from both Circa and DraftKings. DraftKings, a big public book. Circa, really sharp book out in Vegas, where you can get these bet splits at vsin.com. But those are the games I want to bet against the public, because those are the games with the most public action, the most public bias to go against. Line moves obviously are really important to me, no matter the game. But when I look at smaller games that are not on TV, and I actually have one for you guys tonight. It's Illinois, Chicago, and Murray State. Low bet games, not on TV. You got to have ESPN Plus to watch it. I kind of throw away contrarian, and I say, hey, this game tonight is not very sexy, not very popular. It's very low bet. Therefore, I really don't have any value to bet against the public, because there's not enough public on these small little matchups to take advantage of the bias and go against it. So on those smaller games, I like to look at line moves, and especially look at, of course, rhythm predictions, Ken Palm predictions. Those are very, very important to me. So I think it's just important, before we talk about any of the games tonight, to just keep that in mind. If it's a big ESPN game, or it's on, Fox Sports 1 or CBS or Sports Network, or any of these big nationally televised channels, think about really putting a little more stock into contrarian value. If it's a tiny little game, put more stock into line movement, because again, these small games the public doesn't care about, but sharp bettors have targeted and caused that line movement toward. So Megan also wants to know about DePaul. So yeah, we'll have to get a list going here, Megan. But I have a couple that I wanted to start off with. I want to start off with Purdue and Michigan. So this is a very heavily bet game, 7 o'clock tonight. A couple good teams going head to head here. And I think there's an angle here to kind of fade a trendy dog and back Michigan. Michigan is my play in this one. So let me just pull up my Rhythm account, as well as my data here on this one. But let's start off with the fact of rankings, because rankings play a big role into basically pushing the public in one direction or the other. Because rankings, you got to remember, they're kind of subjective. They're voted on, by the coaches, by the writers. They're not an analytics-based prediction or projection. They're a, human, basically ranking that can be bias injected. So what I mean by that is, you look at Purdue, 19-5. They're ranked 7th in the country. Michigan, also a good team, 18-5, but they're ranked 20th. So right off the bat, the public is going to see that little 7. Can I make a 7 with my? I can't even do it. 7. They're ranked 7th, and Michigan is ranked 20th. So if you walk up to someone at the bar and you say, Who do you like tonight, the 7th ranked team or the 20th ranked team? Obviously, they're going to tell you the 7th ranked team because they're quote unquote the better team. But the public falls into the trap of just betting based on records, one-loss records. Take the team with the better record. Take the team with the higher ranking. But what I like to do is not kind of go into a bet already with that preconceived notion, but look at how the betting market is reacting to that data. So, for example, Michigan opened this game around a 1.5-point home favorite. Now, you got to apply some home court advantage here. Typically, it's around 3 points. Sometimes it can be a little bit less depending on the arena, the matchup, all these different factors at play. So even if you look at, hey, let's give a couple points here for home court, Michigan opens -1.5. Now the public is saying the wrong team is favored. They say this is a Purdue play all day long. Purdue better record, better ranking. However, even though Michigan opened as a 1.5-point favorite here, in the public, currently at DraftKings, you're getting upwards of 60% of bets going with Purdue, which would classify as a trendy dog. Majority of bets, nearly 2/3 are on Purdue. But here's the key. The line is moving toward Michigan. So Michigan opened -1.5. Michigan is now up to -2, -2.5. So you got to take a step back. If the odds makers knew that the public would lean toward the ranked team, and the ranked team Purdue is getting a majority of tickets, shouldn't this game be coming down toward a pick'em? Shouldn't the line be moving toward Purdue, better team, majority of bets? No, it's going the other way, toward Michigan. So that's the first thing that got me excited about playing Michigan, this reverse line movement. RLM is when the betting line goes away from the popular side toward the unpopular side. So it tells me that even though public is Boilermakers, sharp money is moving this number toward Michigan. Now, you may or may not know this about me, but I'm a big money line short favorites guy. That means that if I have a favorite of basically 3 or less, maybe I'll go up to maybe 4 or less, but ideally 3 or less, I'm going to money line them every time because there are so many games where you lay, for example, tonight with Michigan, you lay -2, -2.5, they win by 1 or 2. Maybe they're up 5, Purdue hits a meaningless 3. Maybe they're down 1, they hit a buzzer beater walk-off. I want to be able to cash that ticket. So you're going to pay a little more in juice. But with that being said, I'm going Michigan money line. I got them at -135. The other thing that I like about this spot is the splits that we're seeing right now at DraftKings on the Michigan money line. They're only getting 36% of money line tickets, but over 70% of money line dollars. Then we look at some defensive metrics here, which I think are important to me just to know, hey, where's my edge? When you're betting a game, you always want to go into it saying, what's my edge? What's my quote unquote advantage over the sports books? Or how do I think this game is going to play out? Doesn't mean it will play out that way, but you want to kind of know what you're banking on to hopefully lead you to a win or a cover. I'm going to look at 2 things here. Michigan's really good defense. Their defensive efficiency is 22nd in the country. Purdue's not bad either, but they're 32nd. Offensive rebound percentage, 34% versus 31%. And also basically making it hard on your opponent to make shots. The Wolverines are limiting their opponents to a 46% effective field goal percentage. Purdue is limiting their opponents to a 50% effective field goal percentage. So basically, Michigan's defense is making it much harder on their opponent to score versus Purdue. I also look at home court. Michigan is 11-0 at home this year. Knock on wood. Hope that goes to 12-0. And then when I get into my system matches, where, again, they're not trends, they're betting systems. That means you can plug in, basically trends are specific to usually one team. Betting systems that you can plug in any team. As long as they fit the criteria, it will be a system match. So here's my system. When 2 ranked teams play each other, take the home favorite. Very simple, but it is 60% this year, but it's actually 75% since 2021. So I built this case to play Michigan. Public here is on Purdue, yet line's going to Michigan. We got some good splits. Ken Palm, by the way, has Michigan winning by only 1 point, which is why I want to money line Michigan. But I looked at my Rhythm account, and Rhythm has Michigan -1.4. So I know this kind of gets confusing. Like if you can get a 2.5 with Purdue, and Rhythm says a 1.4, therefore should you take the 2.5 with Purdue? Like you could make that case. What I look at it as, I got all these things lining up toward Michigan, and my play is Michigan money line, and Rhythm has basically Michigan winning by about 1.5 points. So that gives me more kind of confidence to play Michigan here. So that's my first bet, Michigan money line, hoping that the Wolverines start the night off with a victory. Next one. This game is going to be a banger. I'm excited about this one. It looks so gross and so disgusting, which is why I really like it. Florida and Mississippi State. It's a 7 o'clock game here tonight. It's on ESPN2. What really jumped out to me with this one is just how lopsided it is in favor of Florida. Like, everybody and their mother is playing Florida tonight, but the line is going toward the Bulldogs, Mississippi State. So let's set the stage here, give the betting market breakdown, and then, of course, get to what Rhythm is telling us about this matchup. Gators come in really good this year. Where's my chomp? I have a little gator that I got in New Orleans, believe it or not. I think it's up on my wall here. Hold on. This is my gator that I got. But here's the thing. I'm not betting Gators. I'm going Mississippi State here, guys. So Florida's had a great year, 20-3, ranked 3rd in the country, won 2 straight, just beat Auburn 90-81. Auburn was and they still are, the number 1 team in the country. 11-point dog Florida, they beat Auburn. That was a huge win for them. I kind of want to bet against them after that big upset win. Mississippi State, by the way, 17-6. They're ranked 22nd, and they just snapped a 2-game losing skid. They beat Georgia by 1 point. They won outright as a 1.5 point, where they road dog there. Now, let's look at the betting market. This line opened with Florida listed as high as a 4-point road favorite. And even when this line early on was, Florida -4, -3, public was hammering and continues to hammer Florida. If you look right now, guys, at DraftKings, Florida is getting 85% of spread bets. That is a very, very lopsided share. I mean, to me, lopsided is my line of demarcation is 65-35. If you're getting at least 65% or more, think of it this way. 3 bets, 2 out of the 3 or more are on one side. Especially the fact, though, that this is a heavily bet game on ESPN2. So, again, this is what we talked about at the outset. These big, public, nationally televised games, I love going contrarian here. I like betting against what the masses are thinking. 85% of bets on the Gators. Gators are a great team. They're ranked 3rd. They just took down Auburn. They're playing Mississippi State. Yeah, they're 17-6, 22nd in the country, but this line is way too short. Hammer Florida. They'll roll in this one. But even though 85% of bets are going Florida, this line is fallen. It's sunk like a rock, all the way in favor of Mississippi State. So Mississippi State opened as high as +4. I'm seeing now Mississippi State +1.5, +1. I even saw a couple books today get down to a pick 'em. You got to ask yourself, and even one book was -1, I believe, Mississippi State. So if everybody, and I always say everybody as in like 100%, but what I mean is 85%. That is a massive, massive majority of tickets. Everybody and their mother is on Gators. Why aren't Gators -4 up to -5, -6? Why is the line falling? Why are the odds makers who know that they're getting so much Gators betting dropping this line down to make it easier for the public to win with the Gators? Think of it this way. Gators open -3, -4. Public's going to hammer that regardless. Let's say if you're a public bettor, before you went to work today, you really wanted to watch Florida, Mississippi State. Florida's great. They'll roll. You put in Florida -4. You get home from work, and now you see Florida -1.5, -1, a pick 'em. Basically the way that public reacts is, man, this is an easy layup. Let me double down, triple down. If I like them at 3 or 4, I love them at only laying 1, 1.5, or a pick 'em, or even getting a point. But you got to ask yourself, why are you getting a better number on Florida at this point? Because a lot of respected money came in on Mississippi State, caused this line to move toward Mississippi State. Keep on cruising. A couple of things that are important to me is the bet split. DraftKings only 15% of bets. So even if you take away the line move, Mississippi State is just a great straight up contrarian bet against the public play. But also Mississippi State is getting 52% of spread dollars. So only 15% of tickets, but more than half the money. At Circa, 55% of bets, a little more support. Out in Vegas, 93% of dollars. So a huge discrepancy, low bets, higher dollars at both DraftKings and Circa in favor of the Bulldogs. Mississippi State, couple things here. They take better care of the ball, 33rd in the country in turnover percentage. Florida is 62nd. And then you look at forcing turnovers. Mississippi State, hopefully, they can really turn over Florida. They're 59th in turnover percentage forced versus 160th for the Florida Gators. Mississippi State, 8-3 at home, not bad. And then also, I like anytime you have a huge win over the top team in the country or a top 5 win, then is it a letdown spot? Florida just beat Auburn. I mean, that was a huge rivalry game. They were a big dog. They went on the road and had a huge win. Now they got to play Mississippi State on the road again, second straight road game, where maybe it's a letdown after that big win against Auburn. So all those factors at play, and then I pop open Rhythm. Rhythm has Mississippi State favored in this game, minus 0.9 points. So basically a 1-point favorite. So again, we're combining the betting market, the line moves, the bet splits, the system matches with these Rhythm edges here. So I love this spot for Mississippi State. Now, also important to shop around because I got Mississippi State earlier today plus 1.5. And I believe there are a couple of books still offering plus 1.5. It was right before I started the stream, but I did see both DraftKings and ESPN Bet had Bulldogs plus 1.5, minus 120. So if you're going to play Mississippi State, again, very important there to get that plus 1.5. So that's my play. Bulldogs plus 1.5. A couple more for you. This is my opportunity to cover your ears. I'm going to break some glass here, but sing my favorite song. Take me home, country roads, to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. That's right. Sorry. That was probably, I will not win a Grammy for that. By the way, anyone see the Grammys? Trevor Noah killed it. Thought it was a really good show. Anyway, West Virginia against BYU. Really like this spot for Shenandoah River, WVU on the money line. Now, set the stage here. WVU at home, 7 o'clock game, CBS Sports Network against BYU. BYU comes in 15-8. Have dropped 2 in a row, though. Just got rolled by Cincy, 84-66. They're a 1.5-point road dog, lost by, what was that, nearly 20. West Virginia, by the way, James Berger. Sounds good in my earbuds. Thanks, James. Appreciate you, man. I can't sing, but hopefully we can win a bet tonight. But anyway, WVU unranked, 15-8, but they won 2 of their last 3, just beat Utah 72-61. They covered that game as a 7-point home favorite. So what have we seen across the market here? Well, this isn't a huge line move play to me, but it's a good rhythm edge, it's a good KenPom edge, and it's a good betting system match. So what do I mean by that? Well, this game opened West Virginia around a 1.5, 2-point favorite, and they're still basically -2. But if you look at the line movement and liability throughout the day, a lot of books got up to -2.5. So you've seen kind of sneaky, little tiny line movement here toward West Virginia. The bet splits aren't amazing. You are getting around 2/3 of bets in dollars on West Virginia. So it's not a contrarian play. This game, by the way, is CBS Sports Network. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I don't have a huge contrarian play, but to me, this is a value play. You've had a little bit of line movement liability on WVU, -1.5, 2, again, up to 2.5 at some books now, or it got up to 2.5, back down to 2. But KenPom has WVU winning by 3 points. This is a money line play for me. It's a relatively short money line. I got West Virginia -130 a little bit earlier today. They're around -135 now at this point. But a couple things to like about WVU. Better defensive efficiency. They're ranked 17th. BYU is ranked 81st. You also get free throw shooting, really important in a close game. Can you make your free throws when the pressure's on you and you're down by 1 or up by 1 versus bricking it when your team needs you to come through? Well, WVU is shooting 73% from the free throw strike versus 69% for BYU. Don't turn it over. BYU ranks 97th in turnover percentage versus 195 for BYU. And they also limit their opponents to a much better effective field goal percentage, 45% versus closer to 50% for BYU. Then we look at home road. This is a really big factor for me. It's hard to win on the road in college basketball. These are young players. They're not pros. They're not adults. A lot of times when you're going on the road and everyone's going nuts, it can really influence you. But West Virginia, 10-3 at home this year. BYU 2-5 on the road. So I want to bet against BYU's bad road record. I want to back WVU at home. Another system match here. When 2 Big 12 teams play each other, the home favorite is 53-18, 75% straight up this year. So I played WVU money line. I got it -130 earlier today. Rhythm has WVU -1.8. So again, if you are getting, what is it right now? 2.5, and Rhythm says it should be 1.8, you could make the case that there's value there to take BYU. But that is a very razor sharp thin margin of error. I look at it the other way. If I'm playing a money line favorite at around -130 when they're -2, I at least want Rhythm to back me up and say, hey, we also have them winning the game. Because you got to remember, money line versus spread, it's a different ball game. Spread, if you're, +5 and Rhythm says you should be +3, hey, that's a good edge toward the dog. Money line, to me, the way I look at it as, yeah, Rhythm doesn't have WVU -5. They got them 1.8. The line's basically 2. Basically says you're kind of right on the number, but at least they still have WVU winning the game, which to me is kind of further confidence and validation that hopefully WVU can win this game. So I got West Virginia money line. I got them at -130. 2 more bets for you, and then we'll get to Megan's games because she's got some great questions on Vandy, Auburn, and DePaul. But next one that I want to talk about, and again, we've been focusing on a lot of bigger, heavily bet games. Now we get to a tiny little game, a very low bet game, a game that I don't know if you were excited to tune into this live stream, you probably wouldn't have expected us to hit on, but it's 8 o'clock, UIC, University of Illinois Chicago versus Murray State. Now, you look at the matchup between these teams. It's a low bet game, nothing close to the bet ticket counts that we're seeing on these other games we just mentioned. So, if you look at, Purdue, Michigan, Florida, Mississippi State, I mean, these are very, very, very heavily bet. Illinois, Chicago, Murray State, you're way down here. So what did we mention? It's not as much the ticket count and splits. It's more of the line moves, because as the public loves these big games, public doesn't care about Illinois, Chicago, Murray State. So therefore, I lean a lot more into the line movement, because even though the public may not care about this one, if we see a line move in a low bet game, chances are it's driven by respected bettors who have identified the game and have really, gotten down and been excited to sweat it. So, little background here. UIC is 14-10 on the year, but they've struggled a bit. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Just lost to SIU Edwardsville, I believe, or Southern Illinois. Lost to them 79-67. Murray State, on the other hand, they just snapped a 4-game losing streak. They beat Valparaiso 74-56. Murray State is 12-13. UIC is 14-10. That's also important to me in this handicap. So, what have we seen across the market? Low bet game, UIC and Murray State. Murray State opened as a very short 1.5-point home favorite. Murray State got a lot of steam. Murray State is now up to basically -3, -3.5 across the market. Some books even went to 4. Guys, when I see a tiny little game and the home favorite goes from -1.5 up to -3, -3.5, that tells me a lot. An overload of smart money, of steam came in and caused that number to get adjusted. So that was the first indication there. Small bet game, big line move. We get to the splits here. They look pretty good on Murray State. You look at the DraftKings spread splits, 72% bets, 93% money. So 72% technically is public. I'm a contrarian bettor. That would be bad. But remember, it's a low bet game. So 72% may not be drunk guys at the bar. That's probably a majority of wise guys who have targeted the game. But either way, 72% bets, 93% money. Now, I moneyline Murray State. I got them at -152 at FanDuel. This is about as high as I'm willing to go moneylining short home favorites. It's just when you get upwards of -200 or more, the juice isn't technically worth the squeeze at that point. So if I'm going to moneyline a team, I really want to be like -175 or less. But anyway, the moneyline splits look really good at DraftKings. 72% bets, over 80% of dollars. Now, Ken Palm has Murray State winning by just 1 point. Another reason why I want to go money line. But a couple things here. Defensive efficiency, big, not huge, but favor of Murray State, 164 in the country versus 205 for Illinois Chicago. Then I'm going to go back to those records. Did you guys, kind of soak that in? We have UIC who's 14-10. Murray State is 12-13. So technically UIC is the better team. Again, they've struggled. They've lost, 4 of their last 5? But why is a 12-13 team, a sub 500 team, favored over a 14-10 team, an above 500 team? That's fishy. And that tells me, hey, I want to be with that fishy side. You would think that the better record team would be favored and the line would move toward the better team, quote unquote. But no, the line's moving toward that. And again, apply home court here, but it's moving toward the team with the sub 500 record. Anytime I see a team below 500 favored over a team above 500, the old me, when I was new to sports betting, would say, wrong team is favored, give me the better team, quote unquote, record. You learn long enough in sports betting that if it's fishy, if it doesn't make sense, give me the side that doesn't make sense. Lastly here, Murray State at Rhythm is predicted -2.1. So again, line's 3.5 now. You could again make the case that Illinois Chicago is a buy low 3.5 because Murray State is 2.1 at Rhythm. But again, the way I look at it is got them winning by a bucket. Hey, we just need to win this game by one or more. Rhythm is kind of with me there in terms of Murray State hopefully winning the game. So I got Murray State on the money line, minus 152. Last one for me, and then we'll get to Megan's games. Let's look at a big one tonight in the Big East. Connecticut and Creighton. This one is a CBS Sports Network game, 9 o'clock tonight. Should be extremely heavily bet. Two good teams facing off here. UConn is 16-7. They're unranked. Just lost to St. Joe's, 68-62 their last time. Versus Creighton, ranked 24th. They're 18-6, and they've won, I think, 9 in a row. So what's notable to me about this game is Connecticut's a bit of a trendy dog. So typically you would think, hey, 24th ranked Creighton versus an unranked team. 24 ranked team is at home. Obviously, the public would lean toward that ranked team at home over the unranked team. But Connecticut, the public is saying Connecticut's a dog. Yeah, they're unranked, but the bias of seeing Connecticut win 2 in a row, big program here. Public is actually leaning toward taking the points with Connecticut. So if you look at the current splits right now, nearly 60% of spread tickets are taking Connecticut plus the points. Right off the bat, trendy dog. I want to bet against that trendy dog. I like the dogs that are gross, the dogs at the pound that no one wants to adopt. Those are the dogs that I love, not the trendy, perfectly manicured, poodles. I'm sure they're good dogs too. But when a team gets overvalued, they basically become trendy, and I want to bet against them. So you're currently getting nearly 60% of bets on Connecticut, but the line has moved toward Creighton. Creighton opened at a lot of books as low as -3. Creighton is now up to -3.5, -4. I even saw one book at 4.5. This line is moving toward Creighton, even though public is leaning UConn. So that's a big indicator to me right off the bat. Creighton looks pretty sharp tonight. Creighton, only about 40% of bets, reverse line move in their favor. But also, DraftKings money line splits look pretty good, 69% bets, over 80% of dollars. Circa on the spread, 50-50 tickets, but 78% money is on Creighton. So further low bets, higher dollars, bet split in favor of Creighton. Now, Ken Palm has Creighton winning by 5. So if you could say to yourself, hey, I'm laying a 3.5, 4, 4.5, Ken Palm's got him by 5, I cover that number. I'm the type of person, the type of bettor who says that will be great, but I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. If I laid a 3.5, 4.5, they win by 1 or 2, I lose my bet. So I'm going money line here. It's a little bit expensive. This is again about as high as I'm willing to go, but it is a -178 Creighton money line that I got at FanDuel. Caesars is also offering that number. But a couple things about Creighton: big edge defensive efficiency, 30th in the country versus 108 for UConn. Creighton is 12-1 at home. They've been a very good team on their home court. Creighton is limiting their opponents to an effective field goal percentage of 46% versus 48%. They're limiting the opponent's three-point shooting to 31% versus 36% for UConn. And lastly, Rhythm has a prediction here of Creighton -2.9. So again, Creighton is 3.5, 4, 4.5 in the market. Rhythm's got a 2.9. You could once again make the case of if you can find a 4.5, take UConn. But again, the way I look at it, as I've been mentioning here, is that if Rhythm has basically Creighton winning by 3 and I'm money lining Creighton, hey, that's some wiggle room. That's a little bit of a cushion there to get me more excited that hopefully that Creighton can win this game. So I am a Creighton money line bettor. I got Creighton on the money line at -178. Now, let's get to Megan's questions, and I'll also open it up to anyone else watching on the live stream who has questions about any other games for tonight. So Megan was asking about Vandy and Auburn. So let's pull up this game. Let's see. So Auburn is on the road. Let me just grab one more thing here and find my Rhythm prediction. And we can get right to it. My first thought, Megan, and this is a game that I've looked at a little bit. I didn't play it officially. The first thing I noticed is maybe Vandy in the points here. Now, why do I say that? Because this game opened Auburn on the road at around -9.5. So pretty big, almost a double-digit favorite on the road. And let me just pull up the bet splits here because I don't remember, or I don't recall what the splits were. I would kind of assume public is laying the points with Auburn because they're a very highly ranked team. But currently you are getting, at DraftKings, 69% of spread bets laying the points with Auburn. So public's on Auburn. I like to start with DraftKings and go to Circa. At Circa, this looks good for Vanderbilt. At Circa, Vandy's getting 62% of spread bets, but 87% of the money. So again, when you look at bet splits, the important thing is, one, where are they coming from? What book? There's so many bet splits, across the market. You don't know where they're from. What book is it? Are they offshores? Are they legal books? Are they delayed? To me, it's really important to identify who those splits are coming from, because if you don't know where the splits are coming from, you really can't put any stock into them. You don't know if they're legit or not. So what I like to do is, DraftKings public book tells me where the public is, 69% on Auburn. Therefore, contrarian play is Vandy. Vandy then at Circa, sharp book out in Vegas, 62% bets, 87% money. So low bets, higher dollars in favor of Vandy at Circa. The other important thing was that line move. Again, Auburn open -9.5. Line's down to 8.5. You might be able to shop around and still find a 9 out there. And then the cherry on top, let me find this one. We have two system matches here. One has Rhythm Vandy plus 8.1 and Vandy plus 8. So it's not a huge discrepancy. And again, shout out to the team at Rhythm for adding in all these great stat categories here, where you can look at, last 5, last 10. But this is my Josh model. So again, great point of Rhythm is you can either just follow the AI recommended bets, or you can create your own. But basically, I have an 8, and then my pre-built model is, look at that, just updated, 7.6. So I'm leaning Megan. I don't know how you thought about this one, Megan, but I'm leaning Vandy in the points here. You have a contrarian side at DraftKings. You have a great split at Circa. The line's moving to Vandy, even though public is on Auburn. So I'm looking at Vandy in the points here. And look, Megan's got it too. Let's go. Let's go, Commodores. Love it. The other question that Megan was asking about was DePaul. So let's pull up DePaul. On the road at Marquette. So the first thing I noticed about this one is the line moving toward DePaul. You open this game Marquette around a 17.5, 18.5 point home favorite. The line's down to 17, 16.5. So the line is moving toward DePaul. My first inclination is I'm leaning DePaul in the points. Let's look at the splits, see how the public is reacting to this game. So right now at DraftKings, DePaul's only getting 30% of tickets. So this is a great example. Everyone's playing Marquette, saying Marquette is going to roll, win by 20 or more. But even though 70% are on Marquette, line is falling toward DePaul. So that tells me DePaul looks like they took in some respected money. If we go to Circa, Circa's interesting. 79% of bets, 96% of money on DePaul plus the points. So that looks pretty good in favor of DePaul. Now let's go to our board and search for the game. So which game? That is what time is that? It's an 8:30 game. I know you can always just search here too. So let's just search DePaul. Sean DePaul. Blue Demons. View results. And let's see what we got. Ideally, as we wait for this thing to open, we want Rhythm predicting something less than those points. So the first one, my pre-built model, 14.1. There we go. My Josh model, 14.8. It is a caution flag. That basically means not in a sweet spot. So if you're going to play it, you got to kind of create a bit of your own handicap to take advantage of. But this one I really like with the green dot, a recommended play, 14-point game. So Megan, I'm right there with you on DePaul. Public Marquette, lines dropping. I did have a system match. I mean, unranked versus ranked. I always like that. If you can shop around, is there still a 17.5 out there? There might only be 17s, but yeah, DePaul's checking off some boxes for me, Megan. Victor, how's your record on the season for college hoops? Was curious to know if you can expect to have a losing season with your approach and focus more on bankroll management, like with football and other sports, but win long term. So let me see how I would reply to that. How's your record on the season for college hoops? Was curious to know. Losing record. Okay. Well, I mean, my first thing is college hoops for me. I take it more of a grinder sport because I bet a lot of short money line home favorites. But because I money line them, I got to win at a higher rate. Like the break even point minus 110 is 52.38%. So I'm kind of a, slow, steady wins the race. I try to bet like 3 a night and try to go 2-1, or 5 a night and try to go 3-2. So that's kind of my approach. One thing in terms of bankroll management and long term is that you want to get ready for March Madness. And March Madness, as a contrarian bettor, is kind of the best time of the year where you can bet against the public. So I think now is a good time. Like if you just finished your football season, like we all just did, it is a good time to kind of maybe do an autopsy. How did you do this year? What did you start with in terms of a bankroll? Where are you at now? If you had a rough year, like I didn't have my greatest football season this year, Victor, because I bet a lot of dogs and unders, and it was a ridiculous year for favorites and overs. So I didn't have the year that I wanted. Sometimes that happens. So do you dial it back a little bit? If you had a really good year, maybe you can add a little bit more, but I would always recommend 3% per play. So if you have a $100 bankroll, you're only risking $3 a game. Again, doesn't sound amazing, but it's all about sticking long-term. Keep up the great work. Also, appreciate that, Victor. Also, Major League Baseball. Baseball's right around the corner. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, you can find all systems go best bets there as well. But baseball is a big volume sport too. Like before you know it, guys, we're gonna get 15 baseball games a night, and really awesome that Rhythm has that coming soon tab to Major League Baseball. So I know Megan and the crew put a lot of time and effort into getting baseball live, and that's going to be a huge game changer for us at Rhythm. But remember, you need a bankroll. Especially, I'm going to bet some MLB win totals here soon. I'm still doing my breakdowns. So you want to have enough capital, enough bankroll management, so that now that football's over, you can really have the best March Madness and baseball season that you can have. So hopefully that helps. We are dropping MLB. That's right, Megan. Cannot wait. Cannot wait for that. Especially the fact that summers get to be slow, and a lot of bettors call it the gambler's vacation, gambler's holiday. Once football ends. But I'm one of those crazy people that loves betting baseball. It's a long season. It's hard to win, but there's something about every day, 15 more games, and just grinding long term. But the fact that Rhythm has MLB locked and loaded for this year, that's pretty amazing. Robert Myers had a question. How about Utah State? Under 153.5. Let's see. Oh, wow. Is this a stale line? Robert, I'm seeing Utah State 147.5. So right off the bat, did you get 153.5? You got a great number there. Let's pull it up. And we'll see what the splits look like. So at DraftKings, Utah State, getting around 62% bets, 64% dollars. We have seen it fall. Let's go to our Rhythm board. Find Utah State. The Aggies. Pull up the game. I did notice for that game, line fell a little bit toward Colorado State. I want to say Utah State was -6. Some books are down to 5.5. I do have a model, basically 5.7. Here's the other thing when it comes to Rhythm. If a team's -6 and Rhythm's got 5.7, that's kind of a no bet for me. Just not a big enough of a discrepancy. But Robert was specifically asking about the total. And Robert, look at this. You got some couple knives right there. That means it's sharp. They got 2 models on this under. So one says it should be 145.4 recommended bet. And my other model says 145.5. So Robert, Where did you get 153.5? Because you crushed that closing line right there. I don't know what book that was at, but yeah, you're looking very good on that one. I'm with you on that under. Now, one thing I do like to look at, just in terms of betting totals, is I like to look at like pace and offensive defensive efficiency. Like if you look, like I didn't play this game, but I'm just looking at it now. Let me just find a couple things here. So defensive efficiency, Colorado State is 74, Utah State is 96. So that's pretty good. Your top 100. And then in terms of pace, your adjusted tempo, Utah State is relatively slow, 68.3 possessions per game, and Colorado State is 65.8. They're very slow. So, Robert, I think you got a good one there. Yeah, I would lean pretty hard to your under. Rhythm's got 2 recommended plays, and we have kind of slower pace, pretty good defense. I guess the only thing you're worried about is an overtime game. Hopefully, you get a winner one way or the other, and you don't have to get to overtime. But yeah, wrapping it up here, guys and gals. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer those. But I'm always thankful to host this Tuesday live stream and kind of show you guys the way I like to use rhythm to my advantage. Maybe your process is a little bit different, but I think the important thing is, again, leaning on these predictions and projections. So like if I erase Utah State, one thing a lot of people ask is, instead of having to look at every single game, can you just give me like your best ones? You can always just go to predictions. Like if you want to take a shot on a money line upset, you always look at DTM, distance to market. So these are all basically the top rated rhythm predictions today. Robert Myers, it says on rhythm, I didn't go shop lines yet. And I just got doing NBA, got Grizzlies 3.5. Well, good call on the Grizz, because yeah, they're up to 4.5 right now. So good job, Robert. Greg Alexander, do you get on every night? If you're asking, do I host this every night? I don't, Greg, but I do it every Tuesday at 4 o'clock Eastern time. And James Santor and I did the NFL show all year long on Sundays. And Megan, appreciate that, Megan. Megan, I always try to make you proud because I love rhythm. I love you and James and the whole crew. So when I get to team up with you guys, that means a ton. And rhythm also was nice enough to power my podcast, the All Systems Go Sports Betting Pod. So you can always check that out for my Twitter account. So appreciate you, Megan. But Greg, to answer your point, this particular live stream is every Tuesday at 4. But the great part about Rhythm is we're adding tons more shows. So I know Joe Delera has a Coast to Coast NBA show. I want to say, Megan, is that every Thursday or so? But there's all new shows added all the time. Adam Rosenberg has one. Our buddy Sam Wagman does one. And I think there's a baseball one coming. So I think the point of these live streams is, we're going to focus on different sports. You might get a different host each time, but regardless of who it is, the whole point is to teach you how to use rhythm to your advantage and then kind of give you different, different ways to approach betting. Like you tune into a live stream with me, I might be a little different than, the NBA stream or the baseball stream. But either way, it gives you the opportunity to kind of focus specifically on different sports and gives you the ability to kind of pick and choose maybe a little piece of my style, a little piece of, a different person's presentation. But in the end, it gives you the opportunity to hopefully make the smartest bet that you can. So yeah, our buddy Alec, who always is great with the production, Coast to Coast is every Thursday, the NBA betting show, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you can always check out for that. But as we wrap up, number one, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Make sure you go. Alec, can you give me the main board? Because I always like to point, if we can, toward the 7-day free trial. Because if you haven't done it yet, here we go. Appreciate it. Right there. Take your phone. Just scan that. Scan that QR code right there. Download Rhythm. Give it a 5-star review. Tell a friend. And That's your homework tonight, to turn someone else in your world onto Rhythm. I got a late question here. Jason Neff. Jason, how you doing, my friend? Let's check it out. USC Penn State. Let me pull it up. Let's see what we got here. So, first thing I noticed, I keep calling Jeff, my bad. It's the Jason Neff. I combine it and make it a Jeff. But Jason, first thing I noticed is this line really hasn't moved at all. Open USC minus 4.5, still minus 4.5. One book got up to 5, back down to 4.5. So sometimes the lack of movement can kind of tell you something versus just big moves in general. But let's look at USC in this one. At DraftKings, USC is getting slight majority of bets, 58%, about the same amount of dollars. USC at circa 89% bets in dollars. So this looks like a public USC play. Let's see what Ken Palm has for this one. Ken Palm has USC winning by 3. So they'll lead me a little bit to Penn State. I'll be honest, I've played Penn State a few times. I feel like they've lost every time for me, but you don't want to let that bias seep in. So let's go to our Rhythm predictions here. And we'll type in USC. We'll see what Rhythm's got for the models on this one. So Rhythm is leaning Penn State. Plus 3.4. Plus 3.3. Both are kind of quasi caution flags. Again, that means you want to build your own case and not blindly follow it. Jason, I didn't play this one myself, but I would lean Penn State in the points just from the standpoint of USC is a popular play tonight, yet the line really hasn't moved. You know, if they open minus 4.5 and they're so popular, shouldn't they be up to minus 5, minus 6? They're not. They've stayed right where they're at. Ken Palm's got a 3-point game. Rhythm has a, what did we say? 3-point, I forgot what that was. 3.4 and 3.3. So I'd lean a little bit toward Penn State. But they've burned me so many times, I probably won't play it. But whatever you decide to do, Jason, I hope you win. Yeah. And again, I think I'll pass. That, to me, guys, is so important. Like, Rhythm is not just, hey, we got this great edge. Like, let's say, for example, Rhythm had Penn State plus 1. I mean, then I would get excited because that's a huge discrepancy. You can give me a 4.5 and you know, Rhythm says it's a 1. Anytime it's within about a point, I'm kind of with Jason there. Pass. Let's look for some other games that might be providing a bigger or better edge. Rhythm Alec, the Rhythm Lab sessions, handicapping all sports, are live Wednesdays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time and Fridays at 6. Nice. We got you. Look at the growth. Look how happy and proud Megan is. We got streams left and right. But as always, guys, wrap it up here. Just want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in. I know you're busy on it's probably dinner time wherever you're at, but busy on a Tuesday. The fact that we're able to have a bunch of people come in and just talk some sharp lines, hopefully win some bets, always makes me proud and excited and thankful to partner with Rhythm and hopefully help people make some smart bets. So have a fantastic Tuesday night, everybody. We'll be back at it, same exact stream next Tuesday. And just remember, March Madness will be here before you know it. So hopefully that'll be a time where we can really make some money. Did you say Vandy? Oh, Robert, that was Vandy in the points. Yeah, because line was going to Vandy and Rhythm had a decent edge there. And if Megan likes it, I like it. But that all does it, everybody. Have a great night. Be back at next Tuesday. And of course, download Rhythm, tell a friend, give it a 5-star review, and make sure if you haven't done it yet to give Rhythm a shot with a 7-day free trial. Well, good luck. Have a great night.